All right, well, welcome. I'm HireWorx process creator John Weisenberger, and I've been hiring and managing people for over 30 years. First as an engineering manager, then as a sales and marketing manager, and lastly as a general manager in a couple of different industries. I've hired engineers, product managers, customer service reps, sales reps, and just about every type of manufacturing employee, either personally or through one of my line managers. And yes, I'll admit I've made a few bad hires in my career, including an engineer who couldn't code and a quality manager who was always absent. So let me ask you, what if you could confidently make the right hiring decisions time after time? What if you had a way to gauge the true fit, character, attitude, determination, and even team orientation of each candidate that applies for one of your open positions? What would your organization's culture and bottom line look like a year from now if you only hired A players? These are the questions keeping business owners and their managers up at night, and I know because I've been there. Fortunately, I've learned from my bad hire experiences, and that's why I created the HireWorx process, so others like you don't have to make the same mistakes I've made. Fortunately, there is a better way. And that way is software, in particular the Big Five assessment software that we use as part of the HireWorx process. So we use a custom software platform called Big Five Assessments, and it performs a variety of psychometric assessments on candidates to make sure that they have all these right fit attitudes, behaviors, and that they have the cognitive skills required for a specific job role. So it's a very important part of the HireWorx process and actually our secret sauce that will help you identify all those right fit attitudes that you don't get on a resume or CV. Now, the Big Five assessment software has benchmarks for the personality traits and the level of cognitive abilities and the behavioral attitudes for a wide range of job positions and skill sets that'll allow you to look for the right fit candidates for your open positions. So currently, our library has over 130 job benchmarks available, and we're adding more all the time. Now, each of these benchmark assessments, they go into much more depth than our own human intuitive skills can provide us, and these benchmarks are scientifically proven to be more reliable. So let's talk about each of the assessment areas in a bit more detail. So the first assessment we use is called the Five Factors Personality Assessment. Now, the Big Five Factors Personality Assessment is considered by most psychologists as the most accurate and valid personality assessment in use today. Now, you may have heard about others such as Myers-Briggs or the DISC assessments, but the Big Five Factors Assessment is considered the gold standard of personality assessments. So what is actually measured by the Big Five? Well, when you look at the different personality traits, it's number one, we look at conscientiousness versus having a carefree attitude, and that'll kind of describe the degree to which the individual is persistent at their job, how they get motivated, how well organized they are, and how disciplined and dependable they're going to be in that position. The second thing that we measure is what's called likability versus being a tough-minded individual, and that kind of describes the degree to which the person is a pleasant and agreeable person, and how they can range from being warm and tolerant and tactful to being tough-minded, skeptical, and direct. So again, very much an important attribute of how well they're going to get along with other people, whether they're direct and tough-minded and skeptical and kind of rough versus being more pleasant and agreeable. Now, the third thing that is measured is called unconventional versus rules-oriented, and that kind of describes the degree to which the individual is predictable, how often they follow rules and structure, and how well they like following rules and structure, as opposed to being open to trying new things and being adventuresome and inconsistent. So again, you want to look for the type of attributes you would need when you're interviewing an individual for a specific position. So an example would be, if you're looking for a quality manager, you want somebody that's probably rules-oriented and structured and wants to see every I and T dotted in the correct order, versus if you're looking for a innovative process guru that's looking at restructuring your operations, or you're looking for a marketing person that's looking at a creative way to drive more leads and close more sales. You want somebody that's more open to new ideas and more adventuresome, let's call it. The fourth attribute of the Big Five is called extroversion versus introversion, and that describes the focus of an individual's emotional energy, ranging from being the outgoing, dominant, boisterous, ambitious, and sociable type of person versus being an introverted, shy, and quiet person. So again, you might want an engineer, you don't care if they're introverted, shy, and want to work alone, versus if you want a salesperson, you want somebody that has a little more outgoing personality and, is gung-ho about closing deals, right? And then the last of the big five attributes is called stability, and that's versus being a sensitive, neurotic type of person that might be more sensitive and anxious all the time. So you're looking for the degree of an individual's emotional stability. So, are they resistant to stress? Are they calm and self-confident, again, versus being sensitive and anxious all the time, right? So these are what's considered the five factors, big five attributes that are measured, and they can tell you a lot about an individual candidate. Now, with the big five assessment software, there's actually two more attributes that we measure that can tell you about their teaming capabilities. And what that really measures is the applicant's attitude towards teamwork versus being an individual contributor. And again, it depends on the type of role you're looking to fill. If you want a salesperson, in the end of the day, all salespeople are individual contributors. They don't really work as part of a team when they're trying to sell a particular client. Whereas if you're looking at someone who is part of an engineering group or a part of a marketing group, you might want people that can collaborate to put together a promotional program for marketing, or in engineering, you want people that can collaborate on a large piece of software to figure out who's going to do what. So again, this team measurement is an additional scale that the Big Five assessment software measures, and I think you'll find its report very interesting. And then lastly, everyone always asks about the validity of the test. So we incorporate what's called the Good Impression Scale, and it's really a validity testing scale that measures the degree to which the person has responded openly and frankly to the assessment questions. And this Good Impression Scale can give you an indication of how much the person has tried to manipulate the assessment results. So if they're trying to put in the answer that they think you want, it's going to call them out on that, and it'll be able to figure it out and give you an accurate reading for how much did they try to manipulate the results. So this is what the Big Five assessments personality questionnaire figures out for you, and it's probably the most fundamental and key part of the whole HireWorx process, is getting to know the person from the Big Five attribute perspective. Now, the second thing we measure with the software is what's called a cognitive ability test, because research has confirmed that the best predictor of job performance is a person's cognitive ability and how easily and quickly the candidate will be able to solve problems and process information related to the role. So the cognitive ability assessment reveals how easily the candidate's going to be able to adapt to new changes and absorb and grasp new concepts, as well as if you're looking for someone involved in some kind of process improvement opportunity, you're going to want someone that has the cognitive ability to see how things could be done differently and understand the whole process, and not just be someone who's been trained to do step after step after step. You want someone who can see those steps and find maybe a way to improve them. So for most jobs, and it depends on the role, there's a range of cognitive ability associated with being successful in that position. And what matters is the fit with the requirements of the job. You don't need a rocket scientist to do a particular job if the job is not launching rockets into space, I suppose, right? Okay, so the last thing we typically assess with the Big Five assessment software is called the attitude assessment. Research also demonstrates that honesty and integrity testing can help you predict any counterproductive workplace behaviors. So this type of assessment will let you screen out applicants with attitudes and behaviors that could be or could lead to problems with product shrinkage, aka theft. It could help find someone who might have excessive absenteeism because they're not conscientious about showing up to work, and their attitude would show that, they don't care if they arrive 10 minutes late or not. It could show you if there's any inappropriate behaviors that might be present in their personality and show up in the place of work. And it also could give you an indication of, are you going to have to fire this individual for having a bad attitude and some behaviors that are not good? So this attitude assessment is a very important assessment that can identify any red flags that you might need to explore during an interview, or perhaps it would even eliminate a candidate from any consideration of even being interviewed as part of the initial filtering. So the attitude assessment is, to me, just as important as the other two, the cognitive and the personality. And the Big Five assessment software gives you reports on all three of these very important areas. Who do you contact if you have more questions? Well, you can text me or call me on my phone at 330-800-1863, or you can email me at HireWorx@arcadiumgroup.com. If you'd like to schedule some time on my calendar to have a discussion, you can just go to http://callwithjw.com, and that'll take you to my calendar. And if you want to learn more about the HireWorx process, you can go to hireworksusa.com, and on my website there, it'll tell you all about the HireWorx process. So that's how you can reach me. I would look forward to talking with you anytime. And for this webinar, that's all for now. So I wish you a great day and great success in any hiring you do.